Welcome to Movie Lover News, the #1 movie news show on earth. I'm your host, Tyron Rubin, doing the show with Alex, and together we are bringing you, as I already said, the #1 movie news show on earth. You should know that already. We bring you the best news, the best stories on all the best films out there, the greatest films that are coming out. And a film I'm going to talk about today is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. The reason I'm doing a show on it is because I'm going to tell you about the cast for this film, and this film looks very unique and very exciting. It's been released on the 22nd of June 2012. The book Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which the film's obviously an adaptation of, is written as a biography of Abraham Lincoln based on secret diaries kept by the 16th president and given to the author by a vampire named Henry Sturgess. So it's obviously a whole take on Abraham Lincoln's life. When Lincoln is 11 years old, he learns from his father, Thomas Lincoln, that vampires are in fact real creatures. Thomas explains to his son that a vampire killed Abraham's grandfather, also named Abraham Lincoln, in 1786. Young Abraham is also shocked to learn that his beloved mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, succumbed not to milk sickness, but rather to being given a full's dose of vampire blood, the result of Thomas's failure to repay a debt. Lincoln vows in his diary to kill as many vampires as he can. A year later, he lures the vampire responsible for his mother's death to the family farm and manages to kill it with a homemade steak. At the age of 16, Lincoln gets word of a possible vampire attack along the Ohio River and investigates. But this time he is no match for the vampire and is nearly killed. He is saved at the last moment by the intervention of the vampire Henry Sturgess. Henry nurses Lincoln back to health and explains some of the nature of vampirism, emphasizing that some vampires are good and others are evil. Lincoln spends the summer with Henry and trains for combat, becoming a skilled wrestler and axe handler. For several years following, Henry sends Lincoln the names and addresses of evil vampires. Abraham dutifully tracks them down and kills them. This whole world created based on fact, but obviously manipulated into fiction. The director of this film is a very prolific Russian director, Timur Bekmambetov. Sorry if I've mispronounced that. He's writer and producer of this film. The literature is based on the novel by Seth Grahame-Smith, and it has Tim Burton producing this film. Now for the exciting news, and that is the cast of this film, who's almost confirmed because they've obviously have to start shooting this film very soon. We have Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who plays Mary Todd Lincoln. She was Ramona Flowers in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and she can be seen in The Thing, the remake, which is due out on the 14th of October. We have Dominic Cooper, who plays Henry Sturgess. He can be seen in My Week with Marilyn, which has been directed by Simon Curtis. It has Emma Watson as Lucy, Michelle Williams is playing Marilyn Monroe, and Dominic Cooper is playing Milton Green. And we can see Dominic Cooper in Captain America, the First Avenger, which is due out on the 22nd of July, where he plays Howard Stark. Also in this film is Jimmi Simpson, who plays Joshua Speed. He can be seen in a film called Knights of Badassdom. We have Anthony Mackie, who plays William Seward. He can be seen in The Adjustment Bureau, as well as in the film Real Steel, which is due out on the 7th of October, which looks like a very interesting film. And in a film called Tenure with Channing Tatum, which is due out on the 30th of December. And in Man on a Ledge, which is due out in 2012. We have Alan Tudyk, who is Stephen A. Douglas, and he can be seen in the massive film on the 1st of July this year, Transformers: Dark of the Moon. Benjamin Walker has been newly announced as Abraham Lincoln in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Robin McLeavy plays Nancy Hanks Lincoln, and she's also a new addition to this cast, very young up-and-coming actress. The writer of Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which this film is based on, Seth Grahame-Smith, is writing Dark Shadows, which is the new Tim Burton film, which has got Johnny Depp, Helen Bonham Carter, Michelle Pfeiffer and Eva Green. And he also wrote the novel Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which is also being turned into a film. On my personal excitement meter, I put this film at the moment just under an 8. It probably will go higher to an 8 when I hear more news and find out more about this film. But it's something that I hope will be really fresh, really interesting, and could be a kind of a cult type of film. I'm not necessarily saying something like Donnie Darko, which is in the sci-fi realm, but it's something that we haven't seen in cinema, a film like this. We've seen similar things to this, but this could be really unique. So look out for this film. I'm going to be following it. I know Alex is excited about this film. Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter. Thanks for watching Movie Lover News. I'm your host, Tyron Rubin, doing the show with Alex, bringing you the #1 movie news show on earth.